And we are live. Welcome to NBA Live Before Lock. It is Wednesday, April 30th. I am Josh Engleman, joined by Greg Ehrenberg. Brought to you by DraftKings. We got a lot to talk about for DK, too. Fun little deal for you guys. We'll touch on it in a bit, but we got two games today, and if they break the right way, there's no basketball on Friday. Golden State, 4-point dogs in Houston. If the Warriors win today, this series is over. Minnesota, 6-point dogs in LA. If they win today, the series is over, and we get no basketball on Friday. Celtics series is going to start on Monday. So there's also a possibility that there's no basketball this weekend, which is really weird by the NBA. Yeah, that's where we're at. Like, subscribe, notification bell. What do you think of yesterday, Greg?
So the games, by the way, I have to pull up the scores to give like a synopsis of all the games individually, because there was 4 of them that we had. So of the games yesterday, obviously Pacers Bucks, that was an awesome game. That game ruled. Gary Trent, who, it was funny because you and I are meshing about this a little bit. Gary Trent starts the game really good from a DFS standpoint, but was kind of terrible from real life. It was just like, hey, look, he's just getting like a steal every other possession, is just accumulating fantasy points. But then the fourth quarter and overtime, he just became unconscious, knocking down everything. And then, of course, he blows the game at the end by fumbling a pass. It goes out of bounds, and that ends the Bucs season. So that game was awesome. Knicks Pacers, that was awesome. Celtics Magic, just total blowout, nothing of interest there. And then Nuggets Clippers, first Jamal Murray game that we've had in a little while where he really went off. That game was all right. It was not nearly as good as the 2 earlier games, but it was considerably better than Boston Orlando.
I did not expect Denver to just like have no trouble kicking the shit out of the Clippers last night. That one went a very different direction. I didn't see a single second of Boston Orlando, which is of no surprise to anybody. I went straight from Milwaukee Indy to Detroit Knicks, and then didn't worry too much about Orlando and Boston. But yeah, Gary Trent, I mean, what a stupid day. We're DMing. 40 minutes later, he went 7 for 8 from 3. It was just like, okay, the whole day is different.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that on a lot. We've seen that on a lot of even these playoff slates. Like, things change pretty quick.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Giannis went for 84. That made my Jokic stand for yesterday really problematic heading into the late game. I was like, oh, that's fine. I only need Jokic to drop 90 to have any prayer of success today. They didn't need him. 13, 12, and 10 plus 18, 36 minutes to just beat the shit out of the Clippers. I don't know what's going on in that series. That one's wild. I don't know what's going on in either of these two either. So I'm going to hit you with this right out of the gate. Who wins today?
All right. So today's games, I'm going to say Houston. I'm going to say both the home teams win and the series get extended. I really hope Houston wins. I have what should be on paper a really good bet. When this series was tied at 1, I don't even know how this was an available line. I posted it actually in Eric's Discord channel. I hopped in and posted it there. When this series was tied at 1, the odds of this series to go 5+ games was -135. And now we have Houston, who loses, the 2 games in Golden State. They are -170 favorites, I think, to win today. It would be extremely annoying if I don't end up winning this bet, because it had massive value that's very apparent. Because Houston, they had 2 chances to win. They already haven't won either of them. It still has value despite that, like significantly value. So this would be, I consider, an extremely bad beat if they are not able to win 1 of 3 games.
That's going to be a big one. I mean, part of me just wants them to both be over because I'm tired of talking about the same games, but I also don't want to not have games on Friday. So it's an interesting balance. I mean, the most likely scenario is we get one team done, one goes to game 6. Ignoring your bet, which series do you want to continue?
So even then, it's still Rockets Warriors, because the games have all been really good in this series. Like, they've been really good watches, where they've been really competitive back and forth games. They've come down to the wire. So, I mean, Houston, Golden State for that reason.
I agree. I just don't want to watch the Lakers play anymore. I'm very over them as I sit here in a Lakers shirt.
Honestly, both of them. I'd prefer both of them to extend, but if I could only choose one, it'd be the Houston one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just need these Lakers to go away and just come back next year with more real players and see what it looks like.
I'm realizing this right away as well. here's another reason I really want the Lakers to win. So not to call somebody out individually here, and I don't know if he's like joking or not, but Doug Gillian chat said NBA/the refs are not letting the Lakers lose today. If there's any kind of he kind of mistyped it first. I know what he meant though. If there's any sort of competitive game at the end, it's inevitable that people are going to call it rigged, which would be really entertaining for me on social media.
I don't look forward to that. I know you do. You love getting into the mix with dumb people. I can't do it. It's too much. It's too much.
I mean, people were going nuts about the Knicks Pistons game the other day. Absolutely nuts. I agree it was a bad call, but I mean, it's kind of lame to me to pin an entire series and an entire game on one play at the end. Not to mention also that on the exact same play where Josh Hart, but absolutely should have been called for a foul on Tim Hardaway Jr. The only reason he's even in that situation is because Tobias Harris held him, which prevented him from getting the offensive rebound. And then he also had to lunge at Tim Hardaway Jr. because Tobias Harris was holding his arm. So before that, it should have been a foul on Tobias Harris's loose ball foul. It happens. It shouldn't be humans that are reffing games. It should be machines, which we're going to have at some point.
Can't wait.
That's really, people like to point to, conspiracy, rig, this, that, and the other. The reality is just human eyes kind of suck, and there's a lot that happens in a basketball game.
Maybe Elon can get us some robot refs. Can we get that lucky?
We'll see. Let's see how the AI rankings work in the UFC, and we'll take it from there.
That's fair. All right, you want to talk about the Warriors?
Let's do it. Let's go ahead and talk about the Warriors.
All right, 4-point dogs in Houston, 203 total. We got the Buddy Hield start last time out, and he is the most owned guy on DraftKings for the Warriors right now. 38%, 36% optimal, 4K, shooting guard, small forward eligible. I find him pretty difficult to get away from if he's starting.
Yeah, so I assume he starts, but at the same time, too, it's like Steve Kerr runs the most insane rotations and changes things on a whim all the time. Like Buddy Hield was probably the best play we've had of the entire postseason so far in terms of the leverage you were getting on the field if you swapped to him a couple of days ago. But none of us were expecting Buddy Hield to start the other day. My guess is just because the Warriors won and he played pretty well, he probably starts again today. But you also just can't say 100% for certain because Steve Kerr moves his shit around all the time. I think that my best guess is that he starts, but I can't guarantee it.
Yeah, I'm assuming that he does too, but all bets are off when it comes to Golden State. By the way, you and I haven't talked about this while we're on the show, so quick on-air production meeting. I am on projections tonight, so on the off chance that anything weird happens at like 7 o'clock, you're going to take over and talk a little bit more than I am.
Yeah, no problem at all. And by the way, the thing that's most likely to happen, which is kind of funny because it's related to what we're talking to, it would be a weird starting lineup by the Golden State Warriors. Them changing something, that would be the situation where, actually, I do think that would be pretty interesting, though, because as you would be updating the projections on the site, we kind of be talking through some of that, what that looks like, and then what that would mean for whatever the new starting lineup is. But I think it's going to be Buddy Hield starting.
Same. I thought Houston was going to start change their starting lineup, and they got their lineup out like 2 hours early. So after Buddy Hield, who is your preferred option? Because right now, I essentially don't have Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler.
Ooh, okay. So from the Golden State Warriors, Buddy Hield is easily the top overall option on the slate, like not even close. From the Warriors, I mean. For a second best player on the Warriors, that is going to be Podziemski for me. This is somebody who you and I have liked a good amount over the course of the postseason, other than the one game where he was dealing with the illness and just weren't really sure what to make of that particular one. But Podziemski, as far as mid-range plays go, there aren't that many guys that look all that good priced around 6K. If you look at all the guys around that salary point, he's the best one by a pretty wide margin to me. Like, I don't like Draymond Green all that much for today. I don't love Jaden McDaniels. I guess Fred VanVleet, he's fine, a little bit cheaper. But I like Podziemski a good amount at the 6K price point. And then also, if you look at the shooting guard position in particular, the salary gap here, Jalen Green is $6,700. Podziemski is 6K. Then DiVincenzo is $4,800. Just because of that price gap, that's going to lead you to a lot of Podziemski at shooting guard.
Yeah. And I'm happy to get to pods there at 6K, point guard, shooting guard eligibility. I mean, the optimal rate sitting at 30, ownership at 27. I'm a little surprised I don't have more of him just based on, where our data is sitting. But right now, my takeaway looks like I should be cheering for the Houston Rockets, because if I'm not going to get Steph and I'm not going to get Jimmy Butler, I don't think the Golden State Warriors are going to win this basketball game, which I'm fine with. Like, we talk about this a lot, and I talked about it on the strategy show this morning too, but you've got Luka, Steph, Ant, LeBron, Şengün, all 9K to 10.8. You can't play everybody in that list. Like, eventually you're just naming a really talented basketball, like the best player on one of these teams, and you're not going to have as much of them. Yeah. I like Golden State today, but right now I don't have Steph and Jimmy Butler. I'm at odds with what I think actually happens here.
So there's another part of this as well, which it's not just about Steph and Jimmy Butler. It's also, do you prefer Steph and Jimmy Butler, or do you prefer LeBron and Luka? And to me, it's ultimately, I just prefer the Lakers guys. It's not even like being anti Jimmy Butler or Steph Curry for this particular spot. I like the Lakers guys more.
Yeah, I don't like. Yes, I think Golden State wins this game. I'm not anti-Steph or Jimmy Butler. I just am in my exposures, which I don't love in any way. The Steph one is really weird for me. I spent probably 45 minutes working through his projections today. They're weird. His assists and rebounds are oddly low, but if I did anything to try to manipulate that kind of stuff, the points would just die. Because I expect Steph to play 40 minutes today. If I project Steph for 40 minutes at his 30% usage, incredibly efficient rates, I'm like 5 points north of the points prop right now. I'm really I'm curious about all of it. So that makes me feel better about not having him, but I also don't believe any of it, which is even worse.
Obviously, all the teams want to win these games, right? Like that goes without saying. But with that said, there is, and once again, any conversation we have about the Warriors guys has to be in comparison to the Lakers guys. There is so much more urgency in the Lakers to win this game than the Warriors to win this game, where Steph doesn't have to play 40 plus minutes. He could, but he doesn't have to. He played 39 last game. He played 41 the game before. He played 37 the game before that. The Lakers might legitimately need Luka and LeBron to both play over 40 minutes. And that kind of incentive for them to play, Luka might play 48 minutes today. He might play the entire game. That kind of incentive for the Lakers to push their guys to play more minutes really does make a difference in the situation to me, where the Warriors, would they like to win this game and get their guys extra rest? Absolutely. But there's zero chance that Steph is going to play the entire 48 minutes today, whereas the Lakers really might actually need that to be the case for them to win tonight.
They really might, which is so bizarre to think about. Like, if it's competitive, what is your expectation for the starters' minutes for the Lakers? I know we're not on the Lakers, but like, it's got to be 40 across the board, barring foul trouble. And I'm guessing you're getting the full second half out of just about all of them.
Yeah. By the way, Mr. Bertz, said that I am muted in playback. He said you are as well. Make sure that you don't have us muted. That could be a you issue, not an us issue.
It's 100% a you issue.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We're good. They got it there. All right. So anyway, was just double checking on that. Could you repeat the question? Because I just saw that and wanted to make sure that we weren't muted.
What is your expectation for Lakers minutes? Are you expecting JJ to do it again and like basically run those guys out there for everything in the second half?
Yes. I mean, they did it last game, and now they're facing elimination. So yes.
What if Maxi Kleber is active? I say that like it sounds like a joke, but it's not.
I don't think that would significantly impact it could impact the playing time of role players. I don't think it impacts LeBron or Luka in a massive way.
No, not at all. Those guys, I don't give a shit about those guys. They're going to play as much as they possibly can. But I think that is an interesting piece of information, because like ultimately they need exactly what Maxi Kleber is right now. Just another human being that could like be out there and be functional that isn't Jackson Hayes. So that could be a little interesting. What about the rest of this Golden State team? Like I guess we kind of touched on everybody here. Moody's been, started this series a lot more active in it than he is right now. Peyton, I just never really know how to pin down. They seem to like Quentin Post in this series. I'm happy that he's my second most exposed guy. I'm just all over the map on Golden State today. And what I like and what I'm getting in my exposure seem to be at odds across the board for the Warriors. This is my toughest spot.
Yeah. So for me, I think Pajemski looks good in the mid range. I think Buddy Hield looks good as a value option. Post looks okay as a value option to me. I am a little bit skeptical of his minutes just because he's made his shots in this series. My intuition is that if he does not make his shots, his playing time really dramatically decreases because it's just not sustainable that he's going to keep knocking down shots at this kind of rate. And it makes sense to run him out for bigger minutes when, let's see, what is he shooting? So we saw him knock down, well, I guess actually his 3 points in real time and watching the games. It seems like he's been making more shots than he actually is, but maybe this is a pretty good comparison. Game 1 of this series, he shot 0 for 2 from 3 and only ended up playing 12 minutes. Then the next game, he shoots 4 of 8 from 3. He plays 25 minutes. Then we also had the game last time out where he shot 2 of 7 from 3. He played 20 minutes. I don't know. I think so much of his playing time is going to be dependent on, like, does he make his first couple shots or not?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I hope he does, based on my current exposures, that's for sure. But I think the long and short of it is going to be me cheering against Steph Curry. I'm happy to cheer against Jimmy Butler. That's always fun for me. I don't like cheering against Steph. You should never want to cheer against Steph. There's no way that's ever going to feel good.
No, especially because, you get this situation where you could victory lap a DFS fade of Steph a little bit too early. That is a mistake that I will not be making in terms of being like, oh, cool, he's had a poor first quarter. I guess that I'm in a really good state. So, like, I am going to be underweight to the field pretty significantly on Steph. I'm not really getting to very many lineups of him, but there's no point in the game that I'll be like, oh, I am safe now. Steph has had a bad game.
Yeah, no. If Gary Trent can make 7 out of 8 threes in the fourth quarter, I'm quite confident Steph can do it too.
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. But Golden State, not a team I'm getting a ton of exposure to relative to the other options on the slate, at least.
If you're playing on FanDuel, you are getting to Golden State. 35% ownership to Steph, 40 to Pajemski, 25 to Hield, 30 more for Butler and Green. You're still getting more to Peyton, who's at 20. Slow trickle on Post and Moody, but Golden State is much more popular on the FanDuel side than they are on the DraftKings side. So if you're playing on FanDuel today, you're probably going to end up with a little bit more Golden State than if you're playing on DraftKings.
Yeah, Pajemski looks really, really good over on FanDuel. One thing that is a pretty big difference, Buddy Hield still is fine on FanDuel, but he doesn't look nearly as good on DraftKings. He's the one exception. He's more expensive on FanDuel, $4,700, plus you're losing the 3-point bonus, which is super critical to somebody like Buddy Hield. So Hield, he's the one guy who looks less on FanDuel compared to DraftKings, but Pajemski, he looks good on DraftKings, also looks terrific on FanDuel. Steph at $8,700, he looks better on FanDuel. Draymond looks better on FanDuel. Butler looks better on FanDuel. Hield is just the one exception there.
So then we head over to Houston, a team that I thought was going to do something to their starting lineup, and they didn't. But they might be doing something to their starting lineup after the game starts. Can we have a conversation about $6,700 shooting guard Jalen Green, whose points prop today looks like he's not really participating in the game?
Well, if you watch the games, he's also not been participating in them from watching.
Only once.
The one thing here that gives me a little bit of pause, though, and we've seen this time and time again over the course of the postseason, is just because a guy had a certain result for the last game or two, it doesn't erase what the team's rotations were for the entirety of the season. And if you don't have to go back very far to find Jalen Green playing extended minutes. Last game, he played 25 minutes. He played 39 minutes the game before that. And it's always hard to, like, the truth lies somewhere in between. He's probably not going to play 25 minutes again. He's probably not going to play 39 minutes. So you never know. Maybe he makes his shots and he just gets extended run. But he's not played well in the last couple of games. You go back 3 games ago, he played 35 minutes and scored 61 fantasy points against the Warriors. So I am definitely afraid of not having much exposure to Jalen Green. I understand why the props are what they are. Here's something that's interesting to me, though, Josh. What are the alt lines on his props? Like, what's Jalen Green to score like 25 plus points? Because that actually could be like a betting angle that's actionable here.
What is your guess for 25 plus points?
Ooh. All right. So if I remember correctly, earlier in the day, his regular points prop was 16.5.
Nope,
So
15.5.
oh, it's been bet down to, I don't know. Could Jalen Green be like plus 500 to score 25 points?
He could be plus 560.
Okay. What did he average in the regular season?
He averaged 23 per 36 minutes, if that helps you at all.
Okay. I know you and I have talked about the pace of play being slower in the playoffs. That's the case for this game as well. The total is only 203.5. So like it's not an apples to apples comparison, but I don't know. You have a series between the Warriors and the Rockets. Does he score 25 points in like more than, I don't know what exactly the break even, like 15% of the time or something like that? This isn't the exact way to do it. They've played 4 games. He has scored 38 points in one of them, though. I think he's probably more likely than you said. The number was plus 570.
Yeah, plus 5. It's up to plus 600 on FanDuel right now.
Okay, so let's put this in 600. Yeah, that means the implied odds 14%. I think he scores 25 points more than 14% of the time.
I'm fascinated. Oh, back down to 560. People are listening, Greg. People are hitting it while we're watching on the show. Yeah, 23 points per 36 minutes means that in 30 minutes, what we have him projected for, that would be 19. Again, his points prop is 15.5 today. Now, I made wholesale adjustments to Jalen Green's rates because they have fallen off a cliff. Usage, the 27% usage guy throughout the whole season. Over the past 2 weeks, back down to like 24. So he's lost like 2 percentage points there. The true shooting is down a couple percentage points. Just not out there as much as you would expect. But I'm very happy to not have him. I will say that he is a fascinating GPP option because if he starts scoring, he's going to keep playing. They don't have other guys that do what he does.
Yeah, and let's see. Is there like they don't even have 30 plus points. He's 11-1, 35 plus points. They don't have anything listed. But yeah, I mean, just think of it this way. If you were betting him at 11-1 to score 30 plus points in every game this series, you've already come out pretty far ahead because he's already done it once.
What about the rest of this Houston team? Fred VanVleet found a time machine last time out, made 7 threes. He's 42% owned right now. Şengün's 37. I'm way under the field on Şengün. I had a massive stand last time, but I'm not getting Şengün. I'm too busy getting a different center from Houston. I have 60% of Steven Adams right now. This first game is going to be either incredibly awesome or incredibly awful because I am all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, they've really liked this big lineup that they play where they take, and part of this too is if Jalen Green makes his shots, I know it seems like these guys shouldn't be connected. If Jalen Green is making his shots and they're playing not bizarro lineups, Steven Adams is the first guy who loses out on playing time. If Jalen Green gets back to playing his normal minutes, Steven Adams, they've been playing him with Şengün together and Jabari Smith. They just play these jumbo. It's actually pretty fun to watch. I like it more than I thought I was going to. When they run out there, it's Jabari Smith is being guarded by guys who are like half a foot shorter than them, and he's just shooting over them. Basically impossible for Jabari Smith to get rebounds when he's playing with Steven Adams and Şengün. So I do think it's been pretty sharp to bet some of the unders on his rebound props as of late. But yeah, they've gotten really into playing these Adams and Şengün lineups that they tried out about a month ago or so, and they've been riding it into this series, and it's gone better for them than you would expect. And that is leading to Steven Adams being a top value play as well.
Yeah, I have a ton. I can't get away from him. 3,600 center only, 35% optimal, 35% owned. He's becoming the value for me. And because I'm getting to so much Luka and LeBron, it's not that hard to get Steven Adams. I need value somewhere. Slot it in at center. Those guys don't have it.
And the other thing,
I'm happy I'm under on VanVleet, though. That's the one. Like, I don't trust that dude to do it twice.
The other aspect of this as well with Steven Adams is he doesn't have to play anywhere near his minutes from last game to still look pretty decent. So he played 26.5 minutes last game. I don't really expect that to be the case again. But even if you look at the previous games where he was playing just under 20 minutes, He's older. He's very far from being in his prime version, but he still scores over a fantasy point per minute. If you get 18, 19 minutes out of Steven Adams, you're still expecting 20-ish fantasy points or so. And on a 2-game slate where we don't really have a lot of value, but there's a lot of guys to spend up for, that's enough for Steven Adams to look pretty good, even if you're trying to be conservative with his playing time.
FanDuel ownership up on the screen. 35% to Van Vliet, Brooks, and Amin Thompson. 40 more for Şengün. Smith, Adams, and Eason are all like 25. This first game is just getting jammed on FanDuel. Golden State, heavy ownership. Houston, heavy ownership. If you're playing on FanDuel, the first game is way more owned than the second game. I like Jabari Smith and Eason. Like, good luck getting that right. I don't trust either side of it. Like one of them, like I say it every time, one of them's going to get a couple extra minutes. One of them's going to get a couple less minutes. I never know which one I should take. They're projected within a half point of each other.
So for me, I lean a little bit more towards Tari Eason just because I think he's better. So I think he's more likely to get himself those extra minutes there. I am overweight to both of them, though. I just have a little bit more overweight to Tari Eason. I view each of them as pretty viable contrarian-ish options. They're owned 15 and 16%. So, for a 2-game slate, those are pretty low-owned pieces. I just think Tari Eason's better. So forced to choose between the two, I'm going to lean towards Eason.
The one guy I'm not leaning to, big fade, Amin Thompson, totally cool with it. He's not ready yet. And, it scares me because he is an ultra athlete and every once in a while that just catches. But 6,900 guard forward eligibility is fine. 23% owned. I have 3%. I just don't think this is the series for him. I think he's likely to lose time to Jabari, Steven Adams, Tari Eason if it can happen. Like, I see a floor for Amin. I'm happy to not have him.
He played well last game. I know because I had a decent amount of exposure. It didn't go poorly. It didn't go well either. He was just kind of whatever as a guy on the slate. He also got into foul trouble, though. So he started the game off playing really well. Then he picked up his third foul in the second quarter, and then that kind of derailed him a little bit. He played the entire fourth quarter, though, last game.
Did he really? He only played 31 minutes.
It was because of foul trouble.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm getting all of these games just mushed together in my head at this point.
But he didn't come off the court in the fourth quarter. He played the entire fourth.
Yeah. Team high or team low, -17.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, part of it too is he is tasked with a very difficult assignment. They have him guard Steph while he's out on the court. So I do think it probably takes away from his offense a little bit, and maybe something that we should adjust rates for just because of that. Because as good of an athlete as he is, it is for sure exhausting to be chasing Steph around for half of the entire game, which he does. He does it as well as just about anybody else is capable of doing. I have some exposure to Amin Thompson, not as much as last game. I played a pretty good chunk of him. But I am underweight to him.
Got a super chat from Alex Morris. This one will be quick. Can Van Vliet lose his minutes instead of Adams if Green is shooting well? I want to play both Green and Adams in my big lineup. No. You can play Green and Adams in your big lineup if you want, but Fred Van Vliet's not coming off the floor. If he does, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I mean, like, barring injuries or foul trouble, he's clearly one of the guys they trust, where you've seen like minutes fluctuations with other guys. But here's what you've gotten out of Fred Van Vliet this series: 40 minutes, 40 and a half minutes, 42 and a half minutes, 40 and a half minutes. He's played 40 plus minutes in every game in this series. I would be really surprised if that changes. Other guys have had variable minutes. He hasn't been one of them.
I mean, it's going to be injuries, foul trouble are the only options or blowout are the only things that are getting Fred Van Vliet off the floor. This dude plays 40 minutes regularly in the regular season. It's not stopping today.
Yeah.
You got anything else for Houston?
Let's see. Other guys for Houston. Dillon Brooks of interest to me just because of what his price point is. Kind of surprised that he isn't pulling a little bit more ownership. Although I get people like hate Dillon Brooks and
I love that Jimmy Butler said he hates Jimmy.
Yeah, he literally said it.
Brooks.
He said it in those exact words. He's like, I don't like
competitor, but I hate Dillon Brooks.
Yeah, I think they asked him about him going back and forth with Dillon Brooks. Did you enjoy that? And he basically said, no, that is not enjoyable. Because he's a fierce competitor. I'm a fierce competitor. I do not like him though. Dillon Brooks, I think there's probably more of a minutes ceiling than people realize with him.
Yeah.
Because he constantly has gotten into foul trouble this series, like technical fouls. Him and Draymond are always involved in weird dust stops. Draymond should have been ejected last game, by the way. Absolutely should have been ejected from that game. It's funny to me. Draymond,
he shouldn't have got the first technical. So I was like sympathetic to that.
Yeah. So I thought the second one should have just been a flagrant 2, though, because Draymond finds himself in these situations where people debate, oh, did he do it intentionally? Did it not do it intentionally? You lose the benefit of the doubt when this has happened to you 40 times over the course of your career and it's never happened to anybody else. What other players get in situations where it's just, oh, I accidentally kicked this guy in the nuts. I accidentally kicked him in the head. He accidentally kicks somebody twice per season. It's not a coincidence. You don't accidentally kick people that many times.
No, you don't. Kelly Turner, if you're trying to play Jock Landale today, on reg. Just immediately on reg.
Heald confirmed starting, so we're good. We're not going to have to update that starting lineup.
There we go. Well, we broke down Golden State and Houston.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to finish that point on
go ahead.
Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks, the last 3 games, 4 personal fouls last game. He picked up 6 personal fouls and fouled out the game before that. Game before that also, 4 personal fouls, got into foul trouble. He's actually played decently when he's been on the court this series. I don't even know if it's possible for him, but if he somehow makes it through a game with like 1 or 2 personal fouls, he actually might play like 36, 37, 38 minutes.
Dyson Daniels wins most improved player for being the not most improved player in basketball.
Yeah, it was
every award that keeps coming out. I'm just like, no. It's fucking annoying.
It was known that he was going to end up winning, though.
Yep.
Unfortunately, there was like a small chance that Zubats or Cade, I think would have won if he didn't get hurt at the end of the season, but he did get hurt, so it is what it is.
I would love for someone to tell me what Dyson Daniels improved at, other than just simply being in the game. Whatever. Anyway, you know what we do need to talk about? It's a lot more fun than talking about Dyson Daniels not improving. DraftKings Best Ball, man. There's a link in the description of this video right now. If you click that, download the DraftKings app if you don't have it. $20 best ball lineup. Okay? Got a $20 best ball lineup. You'll get a second ticket for a best ball lineup. It's very simple. You play a best ball lineup for NFL, you're going to get another ticket for that best ball contest. Doesn't get any easier than that. And all you have to do is click the link in the description. You're a best ball guy, right, Greg?
So here's my experience with best ball. I find it very fun to do the drafts. So I'm not a best ball guy in terms of like knowing what I'm doing, but I'm good at like taking a shit, opening up the app and doing a draft while I'm doing like multitasking. So I find the drafts really fun to do.
I wish I had any interest in them ever. I don't even do the NBA ones, and I should.
Yeah. So I do them. I've never like dove into it to try to get like good at them or anything, but I do enjoy them.
Okay. Well, if you put a ticket into DraftKings by clicking the link in the description, you'll get another one. Orion just hit us with a 3v3. Love it. Draymond, Gary Payton, and DiVincenzo, or Pajemski, Brooks, and Eason.
All right, so 3v3. That's the first combo for me. Yeah, and for FanDuel as well, where Draymond's better on FanDuel. Yeah. First combination for me.
It's the second one for me.
I will say I don't love either of them.
I don't love either of them either. There's not a lot of guys that I look on that list other than Pods that I'm just like, that guy I like today.
Draymond for FanDuel specifically, I do like a lot.
That's fair. Let's get to Minnesota. It's weird. We started this season off with Minnesota, and we didn't really know what their rotations were going to be like. And by like game 3, it was essentially just, we're going to play 8 guys and not do anything else. And that has not stopped the entire season. Everybody's just always available. They're playing 8 dudes, and that's just what we get here. 40% ownership to Ant. 40% ownership to Julius Randle, looking a little bit better for Minnesota. 30 for DiVincenzo and Mike Conley. 20 for McDaniels and Reed. 10 for Gobert and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I have the exact same 49% of Edwards and Randall. I am happy to get to Minnesota. I expect them to win this game. This one is actually working out for me the way that I wanted to. I like the Wolves.
All right. All right. So the Minnesota Timberwolves, let's see, I'll filter by them so I can just pull up my exposures specifically there. And yeah, I'm getting to a lot of pretty much all of the relevant guys here. Other than one guy I think warrants a little bit of discussion that we'll talk about. But Julius Randle looks great. Anthony Edwards also looks really great as a pay-up option. And another reason, by the way, that I don't get myself to quite as much of like Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry. I prefer Ant to those guys as well. One thing that I like, my overall favorite pay-up options on the slate, it's Luka and LeBron. But we have
you mean both? They're both in my they're both in 80% of my lineups.
Yeah. It's not that hard to get to them either because the pay-up guys are not like crazy expensive for this slate. So if I'm going to try to find a secondary pay-up option in some of these lineups, if I'm going to already have a lot of LeBron and Luka, from a correlation standpoint, it does make more sense to prioritize Anthony Edwards in lineups with Luka and LeBron than it does to go to like Steph Curry or Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned the exposures. It sounds like we're approaching this one pretty similarly. This is just the game that I'm cornering the market on right now. And I'm going to have every single combination I can find of the main guys from Minnesota and the Lakers. I have 240% of Minnesota. They're 212% owned. I have 285% of the Lakers. They're 220% owned. I mean, I have 65% of my exposures going to the late game. That's what I'm looking for right now. Considering the first game's more popular. Like I'm over on Conley. I'm over on Ant. I'm neutral on McDaniels. Over on Randall. A little under on Gobert, which I'm stoked about. 30% of DiVincenzo. Almost 30% of Reed. I'm light on Nickeil Alexander-Walker, which scares me, but I have a ton of these dudes. Ton.
So the guy who I want to talk about a little bit more is Rudy Gobert, because he's another one of these guys who he's not played well in this series. It's also a not great matchup for him. And Naz Reid has shot the ball really well in this series. So he's just had some of these stretches where he's gotten himself extended minutes. I think there's a little bit of opportunity for Rudy Gobert in kind of the same way as Jalen Green, although probably even a softer recommendation compared to Jalen Green. What are the odds for... All right, let's pull up Rudy Gobert rebound odds.
I got him here. Rudy Gobert over under 8.5 even money.
I'd be more interested in the
plus 124. 124 plus 124 on 10 plus.
Just because if he plays, the question here is the minutes, not whether he's going to get rebounds when he's out on the court. So to me, if he plays his regular minutes, he's going to have a pretty good chance at a big rebounding game. Let's see. Are there any like really crazy alt lines on him? Do they have anything for like, what's 14 plus?
Is plus 630. You can't take that. That's an insane game at 6-1. Does he even have 14 rebounds in the last 2 games?
Let's check out some of Gobert here. So Gobert overall for the season, I mean, he did average 10.5 rebounds per game in 33 minutes. So this series, he did have 10 rebounds last game. Three the game before. Then the playing time has been definitely in question for Gobert here. He has not eclipsed 30 minutes in a single game in this series. I don't know. How realistic do you think it is that Gobert could play 30 plus minutes? If he plays his regular minutes from the regular season, he's pretty live to break the slate.
Barring injury, I don't really see any chance. It's just not the series for him. They don't need it. They don't need to reinvent the wheel. I'd be shocked. Unless you see like Randall or Naz Reid get dinged up and he has to get out there a little bit more. They've cracked the code here, I think.
If I was,
by the way, I'm about to push projections and ownership to the site right now.
Okay. So I'll talk through this. Here's an interesting angle. And I'm not saying this is the most likely outcome, but I believe that FanDuel does like a same game parlay boost. Let's see if this is the case. Of course, I accidentally pressed to reset my password instead of pressing the login button. All right. So FanDuel has a 25%. Oh, 30% profit boost for a same game parlay. Whatever. My max odds, the max I'm allowed to bet on this is $10, but it's a 30% boost. If I'm looking for a fun way to, although not that betting on Rudy Gobert is going to be fun to like anybody in particular, but if I am going to bet on this, which I'm actually going to do right now and build it out, unders on Naz Reid combined with the alt overs for Rudy Gobert. So in the event that Naz Reid either gets in foul trouble, doesn't make his shots, is playing poorly, or just Gobert plays well, I mean, you could get a situation where Naz Reid unders hit, Rudy Gobert alt overs hit, and then you've just got a really long shot ticket that's pretty well correlated. So I'm going to do that right now and see what the odds are if I put this together.
I like it.
Naz Reid, because that's the scenario it happens, right? Is Naz Reid there's no scenario where like Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert both play a ton.
No.
Realistically.
No, I would be very surprised.
All right. So rebounds. If I take under 5.5 rebounds for Naz Reid and then go 12 plus rebounds for Rudy Gobert. And then I'd have to find one other leg to combine this with. I'll pull up OddsShopper to see if there's anything that's projecting well from this game right now.
I mean, anything with Randall at that point would be interesting if you could corner it.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm scrolling.
Projections are up. I'm on to ownership right now.
Okay. All right. Anything that looks like it's changing in a significant way?
I barely moved like half minutes on anybody. Very, very minimal rate changes. I've been in this thing all day. Nothing's moving, you know?
All right. So I guess here's the other leg that I'll combine this with that I think should have some sort of correlation is if I'm betting Naz Reid unders, Rudy Gobert overs, then we're assuming that Gobert plays more, Naz Reid plays less. I think that tends to lend itself more towards the under hitting. So I'll combine it with the unders because it has to be a minimum 3-leg parlay.
All right. I just kicked off ownership. So that should be up in like a minute or two.
Sounds good.
Let me hit the FanDuel side of Minnesota quickly.
Sure.
40% ownership to Ant, 40 to Randall, looking very similar. Around 35 for McDaniels and DiVincenzo, very similar. Reed and Conley both around 25. Gobert just under 20. Nickeil Alexander-Walker under 10. For FanDuel, at least, this is pretty well similar. McDaniels a little bit more popular. DiVincenzo and Reed a little bit more popular on FanDuel, but everything we said for DraftKings in Minnesota is basically the same situation on the FanDuel end.
Yeah, pulling
I would imagine helps.
The FanDuel side of it, and it looks like, I'm getting pretty similar exposures on Minnesota. The guys who look good on DraftKings look good on FanDuel as well.
Nice. You want to finish this off with the Lakers?
Let's do it. Let's hit on the Lakers where we're going to be paying up for dudes.
This is the easiest team to talk about because they only play the starters. 6-point favorites at home, trying to save their season. 10-8 for Luka on DraftKings, 38% owned. He's in 80% of my stuff. 9K for LeBron, which is dumb. Small forward, power forward eligible. 60% owned. The number one guy in the boom bust tool. And in 81% of my stuff, I got 45% of Rui, 35% of Reeves, 35% of Dorian Finney-Smith. I don't know how the hell they get away from the Lakers starters.
And you don't play the bench guys because they don't play them. So you look at the Lakers here. LeBron and Luka, you mentioned LeBron being 9K, being 10-8 for Luka is also crazy. The only reason that he doesn't show up in as many lineups as LeBron for me is because LeBron better positionality, small forward, power forward, Luka only having the point guard. If Luka was like point guard, small forward or something, he would probably be in like 80% of my lineups like Luka is, or like LeBron is. But these are the two top pay up options on the slate. LeBron 1 for me, Luka 2.
I mean, I completely agree more. It's not going to be that much fun of a show. I can't even like push back or tell you you're a moron or anything like that because I have 80% of both of these dudes. Like they're just The fact that they're at home looks great. Their pricing is really advantageous. Yeah. We've already seen that JJ is going to play these dudes every single second possible. Like, there's no ambiguity in the playing time here. They're just getting it as much as they can, as long as this game's competitive. So I'm grabbing both of those dudes.
FanDuel didn't do any better with the pricing. Luka's 10-4 there. No. LeBron's 9-6. I guess 9-6 is marginally better than 9K, but Luka 10-4 is ridiculous over on FanDuel. So my two most exposed players in the FanDuel line, it's LeBron and Luka over there. I mean, this is the easiest team to go out about projecting, because like Josh said, they're not playing the bench. They're just playing their big dogs as many minutes as they can handle, which they have to. They don't have depth.
No, they don't have anything resembling depth. So the one piece of news that we do want to talk about, Maxi Kleber is questionable for this one. He's been out with a broken foot. I have no idea what his availability is. No clue. If he's available, I expect him to be on the floor at least at some point in time. I can't imagine he's like bringing any value, but I do think they will play him if he can play.
I think there's a real risk of him being active and just being there for emergency purposes and being a DMP, or even a situation where it's like, oh shit, like we're running this inbounds play with 2 seconds left in the second quarter. Let's get Kleber in to shoot, as opposed to like Jackson Hayes, whoever the hell else might be on the court. Just because Kleber's active doesn't mean he steps on the court.
No, and I want to be very clear here. You're never playing him no matter what. He's one of the worst per minute guys in the league. We wouldn't be getting much of him if we projected him for 18 minutes today, let alone like thinking about rostering him. The only thing he is going to do is chip away minutes to a Dorian Finney-Smith, a Rui Hachimura, a Jared Vanderbilt, a Gabe Vincent. That's all.
For reference, Kleber has made 4 starts this season, and I don't think we were rostering him in any of those starts. He averaged 10 fantasy points in those games. Overall for the season, we have seen him play nearly 20 minutes per game, and he's averaging under 10 fantasy points. He's like a 0.5 fantasy point per minute guy. And that was in the regular season. Now we're talking about a long layoff. It's also a postseason game where the pace is lower. So if we don't make any adjustments to him, just be like what he did in the regular season, what we should expect in the postseason, you're looking at half a fantasy point per minute. And if you're looking at half a fantasy point per minute, then think of it this way. It's like, hey, you get 30 minutes out of Maxi Kleber, you would expect 15 fantasy points. And he sure shit isn't playing 30 minutes.
Caveman Yogi doesn't think they'll send out Kleber with their season on the line. They're out of dudes. They got to try something. If he were healthy right now from the start of the trade on, he'd be in this rotation for the playoffs. Yeah. 100%.
He's not a bad real life player. He's not a good fantasy producer.
He's the perfect 5th guy out there for this team to like stand around and do shit else and just stretch the floor as a 5. Like they're praying for it right now. We got a couple super chats right here in a row. We got a bunch of Monopoly money here from Cowboy Smith X. Who are your 2 favorite contrarian picks in the event of 2 blowout games? You're not going to like my answer. Greg will probably give you a real one, but I don't think about it like that, and I don't have favorite contrarian picks. I don't. Steven Adams, I guess, but he's 35% owned from twice the field. I don't have favorite contrarian plays.
Tari Eason for me from the first game. Like in these questions, I try to find somebody who I think could potentially play garbage time, but would also be in the rotation regularly. So Tari Eason for me from the Houston Golden State game, from the Lakers Minnesota game. I don't know. I guess Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
I mean, it's definitely not a Laker.
Yeah. I'll say Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
I think he's the only answer that's viable. Like, it's hard to find a contrarian option on a 2-game slate because 1, they don't exist, and 2, nobody else actually plays. That's just like, it's not how I look at this at all. I don't think like, how could I figure out who to pick when this 2% scenario pops up and I could really corner the market on it? I just want to make the best lineups I can. Next one. Who are the best values?
I'm also already overweight to Eason, and he would stand to benefit from garbage time. So that was how I arrived at that. We also got some Discord questions we could answer after these.
Malakar wants to know the best values per position on FanDuel.
Sure. So best values. By the way, some of this is just going to be the pay-up options. Like, I don't think he intends to mean it this way, but the best value at point guard is Luka.
Yeah.
If it needs to be a cheap guy,
all the pay-up options are better value plays in the playoffs because they play more minutes than they normally do and the other guys don't. It's a completely different mechanism now.
If it has to be a cheap guy, then the answer is Conley. But the real best value point guard, like 10-4 is an insane price point for Luka, who might play 48 minutes.
7.5 minutes to go. I should probably go ahead and do my lineups.
Yeah, I could answer. By the way, you go ahead and do that.
Oh, no, I'm not struggling. I'm just not paying attention to time.
Fair enough.
Have you gone through the rest of the value, guys?
So at point guard, I mentioned it really is Luka, but it has to be somebody cheap, which I think is the intent of the question, then Mike Conley. Shooting guard, that is Dillon Brooks. Small forward, that is Dorian Finney-Smith. Power forward, I'll go Tari Eason. Center, I mean, that's just like Steven Adams. Gobert is $4,900 with less ownership than Steven Adams. That is kind of something interesting.
Fucking Gobert. Could you imagine? Joski 24. Adams and FanDuel GPP. Yes. Gary Payton or Nickeil Alexander-Walker last piece in. Payton.
Payton over Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
And then Steve McGee. Is LBJ, Luka, Ant in single entry too much? Small field DK. No.
I've got a bunch of lineups like that.
The answer to every single one of these questions across the board is always you can play it and it's fine on a 2-game slate. I would never say no to a single thing you said unless you were like, I left 10K on the table. 6 minutes to go. We're going to be live on Playback after this. We're live there right now. Playback.tv/Stokastic. If you want to watch Golden State and Houston along with us while we break down the ownership that came in, we break down the game, we talk bets, we talk who the hell else knows, bunch of random stuff. If you guys want to do that, you can. Go to Stokastic or playback.tv/Stokastic. Come join us. You can subscribe to our Playback channel and get the playoff games for the rest of the year. Why wouldn't you want to do that? You can do that. You don't have to. You can come to Playback and not spend a cent and still watch Greg and I talk. It's completely free. But you can subscribe if you're interested in getting the games as well. And Playback's a good time. So do that.
Discord questions as well. If you guys are subs of Stokastic, get access to our Discord channel. You could ask us questions while we're on Playback. Zach Attack says, what's up with, Kleber question. What's up with Kleber? I'm getting a lot of Finney-Smith in the Sims, but if he plays, it has to be the detriment of Finney-Smith, right? No, not necessarily. Like, Kleber could play 4 minutes and it could come at the expense of like Rui. I find it very unlikely Kleber is going to play big minutes. I find it very unlikely.
I completely agree. I'm interested in him because he just chips away for a team that doesn't have people, but like he's not functional.
Yeah, he's not a DFS guy, which is ironic because we're comparing him to DFS right there. Dorian Finney-Smith. Krebsy wants to know Conley, Payton, or Moody. So if he can only roster one of these cheap guards here to save salary, Josh, do you prefer Conley, Payton, or Moody?
Payton. Definitely not Moody. Conley and Payton are the only two answers.
Slight lean for Conley to me, but Conley 1 for me. Payton would be the second option, and then Moody would be the third there. King Yusuf says, do we prefer Van Vliet and Post or Rui and DiVincenzo? Van Vliet and Post or Rui and DiVincenzo?
That's Van Vliet and Post for me.
Yeah, Van Vliet and Post because of the amount of Van Vliet I have. He is, of all those players, he's by far the one I have the most exposure to. And then
I've got my lineups in, by the way, so I'm good to go.
Okay, cool. 2v2 from Krebsy. He asked us Buddy Hield and Julius Randle or Reeves and DiVincenzo. It's Buddy Hield and Julius Randle for me.
Completely agree there. Finished up with 83% LeBron, 68% Luka, 56% Julius Randle, 52% Steven Adams. They are my 4 guys over 50%. Biggest fades. All right, biggest stands, biggest fades. Biggest stands, Luka, Conley, LeBron, Adams, Randle. Biggest fades, Şengün, Amin Thompson, Buddy Hield, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry.
See, what did I end up with? I know the guys I have the most exposure to, but who am I underweight to? A lot of Warriors guys, which ended up being the case for me the other day as well. But Steph, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, those are players who I am underweight to the field to. Those are my biggest stands there. I'm underweight to the field to Amin Thompson. As I thought I had a little bit more of Amin Thompson, but I don't. I only have 5% of him. On my previous run, I had a little bit more of that. But yeah, Amin Thompson, somebody I'm not getting a ton of.
Shout out to Chris Williams. He hit us with 5 gifted subs earlier. That one slipped past me. I didn't see it. Top of the hour. I must have been thinking about that DraftKings read. So shout out to Chris Williams and the member message. Wishing everybody a ton of success. They'll have it. I'm on projections tonight. I made Greg richer 2 days ago. I'm going to do it again today.
We'll see. We'll see. Josh is I've won one slate in a row with Josh running projections. So I have
fiery fingertips.
Yeah. One GPP win in a row with Josh running projections. If it happens again, it's a trend.
If it happens again, you need to think about what you want to pay me to continue to do this.
It's a good point. It's a good point. It might be negative for me to win now.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting point. You're gonna have to just cut me a share of it and just walk away. Any final thoughts here? Any takeaways? Anything you want to touch on? Anything we haven't said yet? It's a 2-gamer, man. So get ready.
Yeah,
we might have a 1-gamer on Friday.
I'm just going to really quickly check out Portfolio EV and see what bets are at the top of the board here. And hey, right at the top, how about this? I don't mind his alt lines, but if I was just going to bet this straight up, Rudy Gobert's rebound prop is still 8.5, and that is projecting well under 8.5 over on Portfolio EV. One thing that I do think is kind of funny is, like I said before, like I think it's reasonable to like under 8.5 rebounds for Gobert, but also like 12 plus rebounds at like a big plus number.
I just don't think he's going to be out there.
Could be.
I am a Rudy Gobert guy, though, just because everybody else hates him.
Yeah, everybody very much dislikes Rudy Gobert. What's kind of funny is the people aren't making that much of a deal of his minutes being down because the narrative is that he always plays limited minutes in the postseason. In reality, this is actually the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah. It's because the Lakers don't have a center. It's a very unique situation. They don't play him because of defense. They don't play him because of offense. That's why Rudy Gobert doesn't play against the Lakers, because there's nowhere to put him on offense. He's going to be fine on defense, as he always is, as he always was, as all of the stats always said.
And now?
He sucks on offense. He can't do a damn thing. He can't catch.
Yeah.
So just get the hell out of there. We'll use you later.
He could drop the ball in the basket when he's holding on to it. But yeah, guys, come join us on Playback. Josh and I are going to be over there giving out some bets, watching the games, and that is going to be starting right about now. I'm dropping that link into the YouTube chat. Josh,
way ahead of you, Greg.
Yeah,
way ahead of you.
I was way ahead of you the other day, but today you beat me to it.
Fair. All right, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, because we are locked and we're going to Playback. Don't forget, link in the description. If you want to sign up and get into a best ball contest on DraftKings, sign up through that link. They're going to give you another ticket to get right back in it. Good luck, everybody. Go Warriors, go Wolves.